In this video today, I am going to tell you a few things you need to know if you're moving to Minnesota or if you're thinking about it, things you need to know about Minnesota, about Minnesotans and our quirky behaviors. Stay tuned. We're going to get right into it. My name is Lisa Wichmann, and I am with the Wichmann Real Estate Group here in the Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities area in Minnesota. Thanks for watching this video. Again, I'm going to talk about things you need to know about Minnesota. And the first thing is we are the land of 10,000 lakes, right? But that's not actually true. It just sounds good. We are the land of 11,842 bodies of water that are over 10 acres. So that means that there's a lot of life surrounding lake life here in the state of Minnesota. So the other thing about, being the land of 10,000 lakes is we're not on the lakes and the water just in the summertime. We are on the lakes and the water in the wintertime. We drive our trucks on the lakes. We bring little huts or little houses. They might be little, they might be big, might pitch a tent, whatever, to do ice fishing on the lakes in Minnesota. And we have ice fishing tournaments on lakes in Minnesota. So people think it's so weird, but it's normal for us. So the next thing I want to talk about is food. Like any culture, like anywhere in the country, we have our own thing, right? Well, one of the things we have here is hot dish, in particularly tater tot hot dish. Now, what's a hot dish? Yeah, I really like to cook. I like to cook. I am a very good cook. I am not a fan of hot dish and never have been. But anyway, what is hot dish? So hot dish is other people in other parts of the country know it as a casserole. So it's a one dish meal that usually has maybe either some noodles or potatoes of some kind, maybe hamburger, turkey or chicken if you're lucky, often canned vegetables, and often like cream of mushroom soup or cream of celery soup. God helps some seasonings to make it taste better. And then you mix it all up and throw it in the oven, and there you have hot dish. So, but tater tot hot dish is very, very Minnesotan, and you have the tater tots on top. You have hamburger, cream of mushroom soup, and some other crap. I don't know. I don't make it. Other well-known things from the state of Minnesota, particularly the Twin Cities, is the Juicy Lucy. The Juicy Lucy supposedly was invented at one of two places, either Matt's Bar or the 5-8 Club, both in the city of Minneapolis. What it is, it's 2 patties of hamburger with cheese in the middle. And I was recently there with a friend last fall, and we had Juicy Lucy's at Matt's Bar.
I was briefed on a burger.
You have to be briefed?
It comes with a briefing.
Another dish very well known to Minnesota is wild rice. We grow a lot of wild rice here, and it's grown a lot in northern Minnesota. I often buy it when I am traveling up north, and on my way back, I'll stop at some places that are selling it that was freshly picked from Minnesota. You'll see at different festivals around wild rice bratwurst, wild rice burgers. And one of the things that is really, really common, and one of the things that I make every year in the winter, is wild rice soup. Wild rice soup. It's delicious. The kids love it. And when they come home, they get it. And the last thing I want to talk about food is walleye. When people are fishing on the lakes here, they are after walleye. Why? Because walleye is flippin' delicious. You can get it in the store, but it's also great if you have some people that like to fish in your family who bring it to you. I have a bunch in my freezer. I'm gonna have a fish fry next weekend. One of the biggest musicians to come out of the state of Minnesota is Prince. Minnesotans love Prince. I grew up with Prince. He came onto the scene in 1981, made the movie Purple Rain in 1984. There is a bar downtown Minneapolis, First Avenue, that is synonymous with Prince. Prince played there all the time. And then he built Paisley Park in Chanhassen, which is about 20 minutes outside of Minneapolis, which since his passing is now a museum that's open to the public. There are still performances there. There are still artists recording there. You just gotta love him. So the last thing I want to talk about today are some odd behaviors, weird behaviors of Minnesota. Everybody's heard of Minnesota Nice. So what is Minnesota Nice? I'm actually going to read you what Wikipedia says Minnesota Nice is, because it really, really wraps it up. Minnesota Nice is a cultural stereotype applied to the behavior of people from Minnesota, implying residents unusually courteous, reserved, and mild-mannered. They have an aversion to open confrontation, a tendency toward understatement, and we don't like to make a fuss. And we have emotional restraint. So yeah, we don't like confrontation. We are very courteous. We're very nice. We're very reserved. We have to talk about the Minnesota accent and some of the sayings that we have. So yes, I know I don't sound like that stereotype that was going around, or still does, that we speak in Minnesota, like the movie Fargo. There are some areas, believe me, some of the northern areas where they have some pretty strong accents. But anyway, some things that are pretty typical that you will hear here in Minnesota. Yeah, sure, you betcha. So you betcha is kind of a you're welcome. If somebody did something nice for you, let's just say somebody opened a door for you and you said thank you, you betcha. That might be a response instead of you're welcome. Oofda. Oofda can mean anything. It could mean surprise, oofda. It could mean I bumped into someone, oofda. It could mean it just, oh good Lord, it's kind of embarrassing. Oofda, you will hear in Minnesota. When I was doing a little research on this, this actually just was cracking me up. But this is one that I haven't heard in a long time, but I grew up with this. Mind your own beeswax. I don't know where it came from, but mind your own beeswax. Mind your own business. Well, that's different. Well, that's different. Can mean a lot of things. Often it means, well, I don't like that. But we're not going to say we don't like that, because again, that's Minnesota Nice, right? So that's different. So I love to cook. My grandfather passed away when he was 97, about 11 or 12 years ago. And I used to use my family as guinea pigs when I would cook. So you never know what you were going to get when you came to my home for a meal. And my grandfather was a hearty eater and would eat, but he would often say, well, that's different. And I never really thought about it, but well, that's different. Oh, for cute, which is, I hope that's not in my repertoire of saying, but oh, for cute could be a dog, a baby, a quilt, a knickknack, a God knows anything. Oh, for cute, or oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. So a couple of things that we say. Something else you need to know about driving. Driving here in Minnesota, a couple of things. We got to go back to that Minnesota Nice thing. You come to a four-way stop. Two people come at the same time. Nobody knows who to go. So everybody sits there, and then one might inch forward at the same time. And it's just this, who's going to go and people wave you on, and it's not, you got there first or you got there second, but the other person isn't going to go. And it's confusing. I'm an aggressive driver. I go. And the other thing is the zipper merge. When you're getting out of the highway and you're in rush hour traffic, you're supposed to go every other car is the zipper merge. It's the way to drive. It's the correct way to drive here in Minnesota. Okay, and then there's pop. We have pop here. We don't have soda here. We have pop. We have pop machines, if you would like a soda. If you, often on a menu, if you order like a meal deal, you're going to see burger, chips, and a pop. If you go through the drive-through, they're going to say to you, what kind of pop would you like? We don't say soda here. It's pop. Minnesota thing. I like a Bloody Mary. I also like a beer with my Bloody Mary. And here in Minnesota, you get that. You order a Bloody Mary, and they ask if you want a beer back. A beer back, yeah. It's a little glass of beer, otherwise known as a snit. With a Bloody Mary, you get a snit of beer, or a beer back. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about, and I'm not going to make it long, is the Minnesota goodbye. The Minnesota goodbye is like the worst. The Minnesota goodbye can be forever. Nobody ever says goodbye and leaves. Just not the way it's done. You kind of announce that you're going to leave, and then another topic of conversation comes, and then somebody gets pulled into a conversation. You might stand up, you might walk to the kitchen or where your coats are. You might stand at the door for a while. There can be a bazillion different ways of enticing you back. Oh, I didn't give you some leftovers. Oh, you got to look at this picture. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. Oh, whatever. It's another Minnesota word, whatever. Goodbyes just take forever. So those are a few things you might want to know. If you are even thinking about moving to the Twin Cities, please give us a call, shoot us a text, whatever. We're here to answer any questions and help you along your way. Have a great day.